Hey guys, welcome back to DCS World. I'm Spudknocker, as always, and today we're going to take a look at the SA page, or Situational Awareness display, here in the A-18C Hornet. This display and the Link 16 data link that shares data between different aircraft will be a massive game changer for a lot of people, especially in multiplayer, as it allows different aircraft to communicate with each other non-verbally and show the contacts they have from their sensors, as well as sharing the contacts from other aircraft around them. This includes things like surface ships, AWACS, fighters, and the positions of friendly aircraft like tankers, transport aircraft, anything you can think of, really. So I struggled for a bit trying to figure out the best way to present this and go through it, and I think Wags made a fantastic tutorial on the academics of it, how it actually works, what things are called, things like that. So I figured we'd do a bit of a live kind of commentary here of me flying through a very target-rich environment and using the Link 16 and SA page together to find and prosecute airborne targets in a very target-rich environment. So we're here on the ramp of Area 51, Groom Lake, or Dreamland, whichever you want to call it, and we're smack dab in the middle of, like I said, a very target-rich environment. We've got SAM sites, we've got lots of different flights flying around, we've got friendly flights, we've got transports, we've got tankers, we've got AWACS, we've got enemy MiGs galore, but they're all set not to shoot at each other. And the reason for this is so that we can fly through the environment, shoot some missiles, get our bearings, use our contacts like the Hafus and the PPLIs in order to find different aircraft, and just show you guys how you would use this in a more dynamic environment. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop in the cockpit. We've taxied out from a cold start, so this is what you're going to need to do on the ramp before you take off after a cold start. As you can see, our flight here is showing off some very cool aggressor skins from VFC-12 and the Naval Air Warfare Center. Naval Strike Air Warfare Center. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and hop in the cockpit and get started. Alrighty, so the ideal layout for your DDIs and MPCDs, in my opinion, will be to have your radar page on your right-hand DDI, your EW page on your left-hand DDI, and your SA page down here on the MPCD. However, due to restrictions with visibility and things for the recording, I'm actually going to have my SA page up here on my right-hand DDI. I'm going to have my radar page on my left-hand DDI, and I'm going to have my RWR page down here on my MPCD. So it's a little bit different than the way that I would recommend you fly in a combat scenario, like if you're flying in one of my WingmanFinder sorties. So just keep that in mind. So before we take off, we'll go ahead and make sure we set a bingo. We'll put it about half of our total at about 6,000 pounds. We'll make sure that our RWR is turned on. That's important. We'll go ahead and put our countermeasure dispensers in bypass for now. We'll go ahead and put our SA page on our right-hand DDI, like I said before. And we'll put our radar on our left-hand DDI. Now, normally, like I said, you'd have your radar on your right-hand side, you'd have your EW page here on your left, and your SA page down here on the center. But, like I said, for issues of visibility here for the video for you guys, we're going to change it up a little bit. So we'll come down here, and we'll set up a few things with our jet to start off. We'll go ahead and push up to waypoint 2, we'll go into data, and we'll set waypoint 2 as our co-located waypoint with our bullseye for our air-to-air waypoint. Go back to HSI. And why don't we go ahead and bring our EW page up down here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our data link on our UFC and simply turn it on. And that way we can actually see a bunch of Hafus popped up here. So next we'll go ahead and turn on our IFF system. Just hold this guy to turn it on. Do keep in mind that you will have to turn this on if you do a cold start on like GA or some other server, so that way you don't run into blue on blue incidents. So just keep that in mind. You just gotta hit IFF and hold the on button for a second and you're good to go. A few things you'll also want to map on your controls are some things that you probably haven't used yet, and that would be sensor control switch depress. Now this is what you use to manually interrogate a unknown contact, so just keep that in mind. We're also going to want to turn on our NCTR here, and what this does is it actually has a large database of the radio wave profiles of the fan blades of multiple different types of aircraft. Oop, that was a little echoey, so let's change this guy up a little bit. So when the fan blades of a jet engine are spinning, they're spinning so fast and they're vibrating and all this kind of stuff that they actually emit radio waves. And these radio waves are unique to certain engine types and different aircraft due to the fact that different aircraft, even with the same engines, have different tunnels and funnels from the front of the intake to the actual fan engine face. So it emits a very unique signature. So in a forward aspect of two aircraft coming directly at each other, one aircraft can receive those radio signals and then interpret what kind of aircraft is in front of them. This only occurs when the receiving aircraft has a good view at the fan face of the engine. So just keep that in mind, that if your aircraft is flying perpendicular to you, you're not going to be able to identify it using the NCTR method, and you'll have to do a manual interrogation with sensor select switch depress. So why don't we take a look at the different settings we have in our SA page itself. For our sensor page, we can turn off targets that are found by other fighters. We can see a couple different things disappeared there. The HAFUs changed a bit. The PPLIs, which are going to be your friendly contacts, so we can turn those off or turn them back on. We can see that our AWACS is orbiting off to our left-hand side out there over range 74 Bravo and 74 Charlie. And we can, of course, turn off our surveillance, which is PPLIs that and HAFUs that are showing up via the radar data link from our AWACS. So we'll return to our SA page, and we'll drill in a bit more. And we can see the little B next to us. That is our Wingman. Behind us, actually off to our right here, our Wingman. Our Wingman will show up as B for 2, C for 3, and D for 4. This right here is something that's going to be a massive game changer for a lot of Hornet pilots, is being able to find your Wingman very quickly and effectively in a combat situation will be a massive help. I already found this when I was training Baltic Dragon in the Hornet a few days ago, that it really helps with finding and linking up with your Wingman and your flight in the midst of a very confusing situation. So that is going to be a massive help. As you can see, all of this different information that is shown to the pilot from all these different sensors and aircraft around him, it really reduces the amount of radio traffic. In fact, a lot of pilots and a lot of ground crew kind of folks monitoring sensors and whatnot have said that it's actually kind of eerie now listening to a large multinational exercise like Red Flag, because the radio chatter has been reduced so much that it's almost like people should be talking more on the radios, but they aren't, because there's no need for threat callouts and things like that. Of course, you can also see threat rings, so we'll drill out a little bit here. We can see threat rings for different SAM sites. We've got a fan song out here for an SA2, an SA6, an SA11, and an SA8. Now these are not RWR contact based, these are pre-programmed in based on intelligence estimates of the location of these SAM sites. So if it's a mobile SAM site, like say if this SA8 here decided to pack up and drive 20 miles north, our threat ring here would not change. So we'd have to keep that in mind, that don't think that you're totally protected by staying out of these rings. So I guess that is pretty much it in terms of talking about the system. So why don't we go ahead and take off and use the SA page, our RWR page, and our radar to go ahead and intercept, maybe shoot down a few contacts, and have some fun. Alrighty guys, so let's go ahead and disengage our nose wheel steering and fly out into the battle space here from Groom Lake and start engaging some targets using the HAFUs, PPLIs, our own sensors, donor sensors, and everything else under the sun. So let's go ahead and punch it. I'm going to go ahead and add in just a slight bit of left rudder to counteract just a little tiny bit of crosswind that we have. Very long takeoff roll due to the hot and high conditions here at Groom Lake. Bring up the gear, bring up the flaps, and take a look at the very cool sprawling complex of Groom Lake, and hopefully not crash there. Thank you, Betty. This is a live commentary, so I may mess some things up, but I'm hoping to give you guys a good idea of how to use this system in a very dynamic environment, such as we have here. Now, thankfully, no one's going to be shooting at us for this demonstration, or hopefully not, if we don't stray into the SAM threat rings, that is. So we'll bring them upstairs out here to waypoint 1, and then we'll turn and go towards waypoint 2, our co-located bullseye. And we can see our bullseye is the waypoint circle with the arrow coming out of it, almost like a male gender symbol. So we can come right towards waypoint 2. I think this should be a good place to level off around Angel 16. Right up here in the cloud deck. And we'll pull back the speed a bit, and as we can see, as we drill down on our SA page, we can actually see our wingman coming around behind us. The little line on their circle is showing the current heading of their nose, and we can see with that update there, they're turning around, coming into formation with us. Let's go ahead and have them come into formation. Let's see, formation. Let's go spread 4. And we can see that if we drill out on our range for our SA page, that all of the HAFUs around us are the bottom half of the HAFU shown. This is due to the fact that none of these contacts have our own sensors seeing them. This is just purely donation from fighters in the area, a couple F-15s, the AWACS, some ground radars, and whatnot. So we'll go ahead and turn our radar back on. We'll push our range out to about 40 miles. And we can see that we have an unknown friendly contact based on this staple, as well as an unknown enemy contact based on this staple here. The friendly is denoted by the half circle, the enemy denoted by the half diamond. So why don't we go ahead and interrogate that friendly unit first, and make sure that he is in fact a friendly. So we'll go ahead and I think that was... Okay, so we just interrogated them, and they are in fact friendly. So we'll bring our TDC back to our right DDI, and they are unknown. Now, based on their position and the mission that I created here, this is in fact an AV-8B Harrier. I don't think that it's coded yet to be able to share its position and its unit type with the rest of the aircraft here in DCS. Hopefully that's coming soon, as some sort of a data link in the Harrier would make it a heck of a lot more survivable, that is for sure. So as we can see, we're coming up on those Harriers, and we can get a visual on them down here. This just makes it so much easier to find friendly flights, your own wingman, all these kinds of things when you're flying through the air and able to find them in relation to the bullseye, in relation to your own aircraft in a bra mode. So we'll go ahead and swing her on to the right, and we'll make a 360 and we'll head towards the north of Dreamland and get a good look at some contacts that are roaming around out there. And we can see those threat rings for those SAM sites out there. And we'll bring it on around. And we'll put in the auto throttles for... We'll go ahead and bring it back down to waypoint 1 so we have an idea. We'll bring it right just a bit more. And we can see we've got a friendly in visual down here, so why don't we go ahead and figure out what kind of aircraft that is. We got 2 F-18s, those are our friendlies. And we've got should be a C-17 down there, but it's not showing the aircraft type. That's alright though. We've got 2 F-15s off to our right hand side near waypoint 1. And we've got those Harriers down there as well that are showing up as unknown. We've also got our AWACS orbiting out here. We can see via our E2. And we can, of course, on all of these aircraft get a bra and bullseye indication from them as well. So it looks like we've got 2 unknown enemy contacts out here by our AWACS. So let's go ahead and head out and hopefully save our AWACS. Let's do a manual interrogation on these guys. We'll select that contact and we'll do an interrogation on one and the second one. So we go ahead and these are now declared hostile. So why don't we go ahead and put a hard lock on them to help guide us towards them. We'll take her out of cruise mode on our auto throttle and we'll go ahead and push the speed up and come towards those contacts. And why don't we turn on our helmet mounted display just for giggles. We'll go ahead and select our AMRAAMs. And this is why we don't want our page on our radar page on our right hand DDI, is simply because we lose our radar every time we select a different weapon. So it looks like we lost those contacts, but they popped up pretty quick there. There they are. And based on our SA, their position on our SA page, it looks like those are the right ones. And the aircraft that we have locked, the HAFU, will display a star in the middle of it. So it makes it very easy to be able to see which aircraft on the SA page you have locked up at the moment. So let's go ahead and see it. Does anyone know what kind of aircraft these are? Make sure we have it NCTR boxed. And it does not look like anyone has done an NCTR or a scan of them to be able to see what type of aircraft they are. So maybe if they turn and come hot towards us, we'd be able to do an NCTR scan on their engine face, but at the moment we don't know what kind of aircraft they are. We're going to go ahead and chase these guys down from behind. They are in an orbit, so they should turn back towards us pretty quickly here, so that hopefully this intercept isn't too long. And we'll go ahead and drill down to 20 nautical miles on our SA page so that we can get a more detailed picture down on top of us. We can also decenter this to make our aircraft down at the bottom and see what's out in front of us a little bit better. Looks like we got another HAFU out here that we do not have on our scan due to the fact that we have a single target locked. And we can see just a bit of a visual dot out there. We'll decenter this guy. And we can see, of course, that our wingmen on our SA page are right around us. There they are. And we got a visual out there of, I think, some more bandits based on our scan here. So we can see those guys there. Why don't we go ahead and intercept this group, and then we'll come right and intercept that second group that just passed us off to the right-hand side. Boy, these guys are fast. Maybe they're MiG-25s or MiG-31s or something. I'm not flying the best intercept route as I could be, but of course I'm doing a bit of a live commentary here for you guys. So, engine inlet ice. Looks like they are coming towards the end of their orbit, and we can see on our essay page that their aspect, they're starting to turn to the left slowly. So let's get a bit of better intercept vector on them. And why don't we go ahead and fire a Fox. Missile is active, so we can go ahead and deselect that aircraft to go into air-to-air combat mode, select his wingman, and fire another missile. He's going into active already. These are MiG-31s, and those two AMRAAMs are not going to be enough to knock these guys down, and we'll have to hit them again. Yep, so we hit one. We hit both of them. One looks like he's going down. The other one looks like he's doing pretty okay, but they are definitely on fire, and they're not having a good day. So let's go ahead and leave those guys. And we'll go back around towards those contacts that we saw pass us off to our right-hand side. And just for giggles, why don't we go ahead and tell our flight to open formation. And we'll go ahead and head towards these two Hafus. Come out here. And we have an RWR indication of some MiG-29s out here somewhere. But that's not lined up with these two Hafus, so we know that these guys can't be those MiG-29s. So we'll drill out a bit, go for 80, and we'll keep it at 40. Push our radar display out a bit more. So it looks like we've got an unknown contact number 1 out here. This Hafu here and this one here may in fact be ghosting contacts. This is a bug that is known by ED, and in the latest FA-18 mini update, Wags did say that those would be fixed in a coming update. That should be this week. So as you saw there, we just manually interrogated these two contacts and declared that they were hostile via IFF interrogation. So we'll go ahead and hard lock one of these guys. "24 miles out, and we'll bring our TDC back to our right-hand DDI, and these guys are in fact unknown. So maybe this guy wasn't a ghosting contact. It probably was in fact a real contact, but that's alright. None of these guys are going to shoot at us. We're just doing some demonstrations here. I guess the wingman did actually see him back there. We'll fly and intercept these guys. And we can see we got a visual on them, 2 dots way out there. And we can see the Hafu that we have locked up with our own sensor has that star in the center. And they're passing through 10 nautical miles in range. We'll select our AIM-120s again. And you can see again why we don't want to have our radar on our left-hand DDI. This is just simply for the demonstration of the mission here. Of the SA page, that is. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and Fox on the leader. Missile's active, so we can go ahead and deselect this guy. We'll put it into air-to-air mode. And he's coming in for a bit of a high aspect, so we'll go ahead and go for... Oh, no good missile shot there. So we'll come back through, and we can see visually that is, of course, a MiG-23 that we're going after. And Fox 2, high off-bore sight launch. And a hit on that MiG-23. It looks like these MiGs are made out of something really strong today because, man, my missiles have not been able to down them on one shot in a while. These guys are definitely not having a good day. He's definitely done. He's probably bugging out to head home. And we're out of AIM-9s. Alrighty, let's see, what other contacts can we find out here? We'll go back to navigation mode, push our radar back out. 80 nautical miles. Looks like we have an unknown contact next to our bullseye again. So we'll do a manual interrogation, and that is in fact a friendly again. I think that's a Harrier that's orbiting near our bullseye. So of course that's not a factor and is of course a bad guy. How about this guy out here? What's this guy? And we can see that that guy is an enemy. However, I'm not seeing him on our RWR, or sorry, our SA page. "32 miles out. What if we drill out here a bit, go to 80 for range. Our aircraft's here. Our contact is probably this guy. Alright, let's bring back to our... That contact is Brav 002 for 51. The contact we have locked up is 251 for 37, so no, I don't believe we're engaging this guy here. I'm unsure who we have locked up. Maybe this MiG-31 out here, but that doesn't make sense either. So you can definitely use this SA page to correlate which contact you are engaging. So now we got a friendly IFF queue that we are buddy spiking someone, so we're going to go ahead and drop this lock. So I believe that we did in fact have our AWACS locked up down here, which would make sense based on the ranges and the Bulls pictures that we were seeing. So it looks like we do have staples out here for an unknown contact. I believe that's that same MiG-31 we were looking at. Yeah, MiG-31. It looks like the leader is potentially unknown. Alright, so why don't we go ahead and manually interrogate those guys. I believe it should be this guy here. Yep, that's them. We can see, and we've got both of them interrogated now. We'll go ahead and lock them up. They are unknown, so nobody's gotten an NCTR on these guys. But now that it looks like that our BRA indications on both pages are now synced up, so we know that we're going after the correct bandit. Of course, we're just dragging our wingmen all around Nevada at this point. And we can see, of course, that B, C, and D are out there. B, of course, being our wingman. C being our second section leader. And D being the second section's wingman. We'll go ahead and push this guy back out to about 40. And we can see, of course, that Hafu is starred, showing off the fact that we have that Hafu locked up. We're going to have to retrim her out a little bit now that we've launched some more missiles. And we can see we have a friendly contact out there, and that is our AWACS, which I believe was that friendly aircraft that we had locked up earlier that wasn't giving us a good IFF return based on our radar contact on our HUD. But thankfully we sorted that out before we launched a missile on them. So we got visual. I believe these are actually those two MiG-29s that passed us coming off of our right-hand side that we saw when we were going to engage those MiG-31s that we did up north of Dreamland. So we'll go ahead and back into... Yeah, once again, guys, it's not a good idea to have your radar page on your left-hand DDI. You'll just simply be having to do that stupid mouse clicking all the time. So, Fox 3. Ooh, that was a bad launch. Hopefully the missile can get there. And it looks like it can. We'll deselect him. Air combat mode. We'll go after the leader. And Fox 3 again. And those MiG-31s and MiG-23s really like to absorb missiles, but these MiG-29s do not. Is it a 29? Actually, it's a 31. I stand corrected. Maybe the rear aspect of those missile launches helped. Alrighty, so I think you guys have kind of the idea now, so why don't we go ahead and get our radar tuned back up. We'll retrimmer out and we'll go ahead and head home to Dreamland. So like I said at the beginning of the video, I believe the best combination of displays that you can run on the F-18 while using the SA page would be to have your SA page down here on the MPCD, your radar page here on the right-hand DDI, and your EW page here on the left-hand DDI. Of course, you can get EW contacts and RWR spikes on your SA page. However, it's not nearly as detailed of a picture as looking at your EW page. If you're locked up by a SAM system, that SAM system will show up on your inner threat ring here for a critical threat, but it will not change from this outside ring to a more inside position on your SA page. This is more for identifying different aircraft types and lining them up with the different HAFUs on your SA page. Of course, also another really important reason to have your SA page down on your MPCD is you can overlay a map over it. So if we drill out here a bit, and you're good at reading the map, and you know where things are, we can see that we have a whole bunch of enemy contacts or HAFUs down here by Las Vegas, south of Dreamland. And we can see that those SAM sites and those threat rings are down here in the south of the NTTR down by Las Vegas as well. So if you know the maps really well and you can reread this map really easily, then you can get a better idea of the geographic location of where those HAFUs are, help you find enemy flights easier, help you find tankers easier, help you find your wingmen easier, all these kinds of things. So I hope that this video helps you guys out and figure out how to use the SA page in a more dynamic environment. I know that Eagle Dynamics has stated there's going to be many more updates to the SA page, and I'm sure that I'll be doing more videos about it in the future, but this is kind of just to get you guys started in a dynamic environment here. If you want to learn more about the specifics of the different terms, terminology, and how they more or less work, I'd definitely check out Matt Wagner's awesome video that he put up on here on YouTube. So, thanks a lot guys, and happy hunting!